Welcome to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we discuss the history, facts, people, places, events, lots more surrounding Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com. Welcome back. Another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out. The website, easy way to get there, is hsvinsideout.com. I'm Randy Cantrell. I'm the outsider, at least for now, coming to you from Dallas-Fort Worth. He is Dennis Simpson. He's inside the village, and we've got some other folks that are purveyors of food and drink around Hot Springs Village, which I'm a fan. My wife and I have frequented their establishment. I can't count how many times, but I'll turn it over to you, Dennis.
Well, I'm just want to introduce Jim and Aundrea that we've known for, seems like Hector was a pup. We were just talking a moment ago. How many years have y'all had the home plate?
Going on 13 and a half solid. We're inching towards 14 for sure.
Wow. 14 years. That's 6 billion hamburgers. Is that roughly in that ballpark?
Chicken fried steaks, actually.
Probably 6 billion chicken fried steaks.
We sell a lot of them.
Well, for those of you who pay real close attention, you know that I've interviewed this lovely couple before, and we've asked them their story, but I cannot wait to hear it again because, we have a bigger audience and a different audience now. So Jim and Aundrea, how did you meet? What did you previously do? And how do you end up running a really great restaurant outside the village for 14 years?
You can take that one.
Okay. So Jim and I met in Jackson, Mississippi. And I was working for Outback at the time. Jim was working for Red Lobster. You remember the pickle story. So
So you didn't have a pickle? Tell the pickle story.
We have a pickle story. So, yeah. So, seems like so long ago. So I came in with a friend of mine to Red Lobster to have lunch. And of all people, I order a hamburger at Red Lobster. And the hamburger arrives, and it doesn't have pickles on it. And so I say to the waiter, I'm like, where's the pickles? And he's like, we don't have pickles. I'm like, who serves a hamburger without pickles, right? He goes, I don't know. I'll get my manager.
Did he not ask who orders a hamburger at Red Lobster?
Yeah, he didn't. He was kind of like,
5-year-old kids.
Right. So it was lunchtime, So he says, I'll get my manager. The manager arrives. It's Jim. And he's like, who orders a hamburger at Red Lobster? I'm like, me. He goes, I'm sorry, we don't have pickles. I'm like, okay, well. So he was getting ready to get off. We talked for a minute. And then when he was getting off, I was still there. And he came up and said, do you want to go across the street and have a drink? And I was like, why not? Mm-hmm. That was that. History in the making.
That and a couple of front row center stage tickets to George Strait and
Oh, well, that came later, but that's still the deal.
There you go.
See, these are parts of the story I haven't heard before. You didn't mention there was any George Strait involved. That's different.
That was a few months later, but that's still the deal.
George Strait covers a multitude of pickles, if I'm not mistaken.
A multitude. That's
a
right.
multitude.
Yeah.
So how did you get to the home? Now this is in Jackson, Tennessee. Jackson, Mississippi. Sorry. So how did you get to the village, and how do you buy a restaurant or own one?
Her family was in Mississippi at the time. Her grandfather was one of the original builders, Bill Smith. He's passed as of 4 or 5 years ago now, but her family decided to come up, and her dad was going to kind of join forces with him and take over the business, let his dad retire. So they moved up to the village, and we started to visit the village. And after 6 years in Jackson, Mississippi, we were ready to go just about anywhere. The Red Lobster in town came available and put in for the transfer, and voila, we arrived. And the way we bought Home Plate, we were here for a short time. Aundrea was working for On the Border, and I was at Red Lobster, and neither one of us were real happy. My boss that I came to work for was just not somebody I wanted to work for, and she wasn't real comfortable on the border anyway. So we were having breakfast at Home Plate in the corner. It was a small place at the time, but it was bustling, and we both talked to each other about, boy, this would be a perfect opportunity if you ever wanted to do your own thing. And it wasn't for sale at the time, but I said, well, I'm going to ask them. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're ready to do something else.
Don't put them on the spot. Don't put them on the spot.
So I grabbed Dale's business card on the way out the door, and I called him that night. A couple nights later, we were touring the place, and the rest is history. We went all in. I remember telling Aundrea that as long as you're okay with going into as long as you are okay that if we fail miserably, that you're okay with going into a 1-bedroom apartment and working for Cracker Barrel, what do we got to lose? So
we exhausted everything.
Yeah,
both of our 401ks, everything we had. It was like all in or nothing.
Yeah.
Now, how old was the home plate?
The home plate was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So the previous owners had it 5 years before us. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were an older couple, so they were ready. They just weren't advertising that it was for sale.
Yeah.
But and it was a process. I mean, they weren't just going to sell to anybody. They interviewed us probably 3 or 4 times before they even said, "Yeah, we're willing to give you a shot and sell it to you," which is nice.
Yeah.
It means they cared about their business.
And we've tried to take care of it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Now it was a Dairy Queen or something like that originally, wasn't it?
No, that's true. It was a Dairy Delight.
Dairy Delight, and then a Stobies for a short time.
Yeah.
And there was something else in there, Green Forest, something or other. That was before our time, but it was 2 or 3 things for sure before it became the home plate.
Yeah.
And then they had it, like she said, 4 or 5 years, and that's when we took over.
Well, apparently you guys like construction, because how many expansions have you done?
Ooh,
5, I think.
Yeah. 5, yeah.
We save some money and we spend some money, and we save some money and we spend some money.
You put it back in, You have to. Yeah.
Randy, how would you define the cuisine? What would you call it?
Pretty much whatever you want. I mean, it seems to me, I every meal I've had there has been good. In fact, I told my wife that we were going to be talking to you guys today, and she just texted me back, love that place. I mean, everything we've had, I mean, from really good sandwiches to more just, traditional entree based kind of meals. I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me. I mean, is there something that is more of a specialty?
Well, we get asked that question a lot from people that have never been there before. They come in, they're like, what are you known for? And a lot of that just depends on what day of the week you're dining with us. If it's a Friday or Saturday, I'm going to push you towards the prime rib.
Sure.
I think we do a phenomenal job. If it's Monday night, it's our steak night where you get a complimentary cobbler with your steak. We hand cut all our steaks. You got ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, strips, and T-bones. I don't think you can go wrong there. Of course, we all know about the chicken fried steak. But we learned
to check the whiteboard. We learned to come in and look at let's look at the board. Yeah,
it was up there, and people rave over the fried green tomatoes. That's something you can't get everywhere, and we do a good job with those. And then we also do our specialty nights. So every Tuesday for a month, we'll run a different specialty night. Sometimes it's French, sometimes it's German.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like right now we're doing Southern comfort. We'll do seafood, and people really, really like that. It's something to talk about. It's something to gather about. And say, oh my God, a home plate this month is seafood, or home plate this month is French.
Yeah. Speaking of French, I mean, not only on French night can you get the escargot, but where else can you go in town to get escargot? And we've got it all the time at little old Home Plate Cafe.
Yeah.
So we think we do some pretty cool stuff.
Well, the point I want to make is that, anybody can cook a good meal.
Yeah.
It's hard to cook thousands and thousands and thousands of consistently great meals. And y'all are known for that. You really are.
You're right. We have a couple newbies at the restaurant, thank God. And they're like, the menu is so big. It's so broad. It's crazy.
It goes against what most restaurant concepts do these days, where they try to keep it to 15 or 20 items and concentrate on those. But we inherited this menu for the most part. We really haven't taken hardly anything away over the 13 years. If anything, we've added with the theme nights and some specials. But our base menu is essentially the same as what it was when we took it over.
Well, we heard loud and clear when we were buying home plate from the guests. Don't change anything. Don't change it. Don't change it. Don't change it. And so we didn't, except for adding to it, making it better.
Well, and the secret,
in our opinion,
part of the secret to all that working is a lot of our menu items interchange with each other. So a lot of things are used on multiple different plates, and that's why it's successful.
Okay, working together as a husband and wife.
It's
What was
wonderful.
what was the big? Yeah, look at him. What was the biggest? What was the biggest? What didn't? What happened that you didn't see coming working together as a couple?
Oh goodness.
Didn't see coming.
Didn't see coming.
Funerals for one.
Oh,
I mean, that's something we never thought of, honestly. But it's part of life in the village, you know, and you grow attached to everybody, and we literally have people that are there every single day that count on us. You know, some of them are once a day, some of them are twice a day. A lot of single people in that mix that we're talking about, unfortunately. But you know, when you see somebody that often, you know, at Red Lobster, a regular guest was once a month at best.
Right.
At home plate, it's every single day.
Sometimes
and
2 or
we've
3
even
times
saved
a day.
some people's lives because they didn't show up, and we started making phone calls and do a wellness check, you know, and found somebody on the floor that was hearing us calling them and listening to the answer machine, but couldn't get up. You know, so
Well, I
it's
noticed
all-
when I was there a few times, I noticed a waitress, a man comes up and he sits by himself, and it was clear he was a regular. And I was just watching her interaction. Again, I'm a customer service fanatic. I ran retail companies my whole career.
Oh, awesome.
So high touch is really important. I just watched her. I just paid attention to her, you know, interact with this guy. And yeah, impressive. But you know, the whole staff was, and I'm not blowing smoke at you, but the whole staff was, you could tell. I mean, they're engaged with these people. We were, the first time we came, obviously we'd never been there before, didn't have a clue what to expect, you know, and got similar treatment. Yeah, the funeral thing, death is a part of it. What's, as far as you guys, you know,
Working together all the time.
well, your roles and your function. I'm curious how defined are your roles?
She does most of it.
Good answer.
I'll let her tell you because
True. So we both obviously can run the front of the house, meaning managing the dining room, managing our people, bussing tables if we have to, taking orders if we have to, rolling silverware, whatever it takes. On some occasions, if the kitchen gets backed up and I'm there, even though we have a great kitchen crew, sometimes it's just too much.
Yeah.
And they'll say, hey, Miss A, they call me Miss A. Hey, Miss A, we need some help. I'll go to the kitchen and I'll cook and I'll bail them.
I do too. It's just if there's a choice, she's better at it than me, to be honest with you. So it's a no-brainer. If we're both working the same shift and we overlap a lot, if she goes to the kitchen, I maintain the front of the house, and that's how it goes. But she does 100% of all the administrative. She does the taxes, the payroll, the scheduling of the front of the house. Our kitchen managers take care of the back of the house schedules, but yeah, she's got the hardest part of the job.
Yeah, so I finally got smart and started working home one day a week. So all the distractions that I have is this one and this one, you know. Instead of 25 crew members saying, oh, can I get a Band-Aid? Oh, can you come comp this? Oh my gosh, knocking on the door. And, you know, so I finally got smart and started working from home one day a week, and it has saved so much time, so much anguish for me. And I'm able to get it all done in one day and then go back to work the next day. So
it sounds like that it's mom, open the door, mom, let me in.
I
feel like their mom.
Listen, we have a really good crew. You know, we have a specific training process and a hiring process. We try to select good people. You know, Randy, you were touching base on the fact that you recognize that, you know, our crew was behaving like that to everybody. Mm-hmm. It's something that is in our recruiting process that we look for. And, you know, we're proud of our crew, especially this last 6 months. It's been absolutely I don't even have a word for how hard it's been.
It's been so hard, y'all.
Yeah, well, tell us about it, because we've talked to some other restaurateurs and the supply chain issues and the people.
There's so many different factors, but the staffing, oh my goodness. So we have struggled so much.
I want to let you continue, but keep in mind, we're 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The only exception is Sunday night. We close at 2:00. But you add in a whole nother shift 7 days a week compared to our competitors. I'm saying, and it gets unbelievable. We've done
everything we could to stay open our regular hours, and we've been successful. And sometimes that means I go in at 6 a.m. and then come home at 3 and let my babies out, my dogs, and then come back and work 4 to close. That's what you have to do. You have to keep it. You have to be in the offensive. So
it means a lot of overtime. It means it's great. The good news is since March, we've actually had record business. We had a record March, record April, record May, June, July. I think August is going to shake out that way too. And that sounds great.
But not when you're under.
But when the food cost is double, in most cases, I don't want to say everything's double, but there's a lot of things that have gone just crazy in price, or you can't get them at all. So you're altering your choices for your customers, and not everybody understands, unfortunately.
So the staffing, we have long-term employees that wouldn't leave no matter what, and then unfortunately you had some that thought they would rather stay at home make some money than come to work, or they're scared because of the pandemic. There's a mixed bag of that. And so we've hung on to most of our core people. But we've lost some too, and it takes a lot, especially when our business is up so much than past years. And lately, we have leaned on our group members.
Yeah, as of late, we've really gotten lucky. Well, first of all, we got one of our long-term people that a lot of our guests know and love. That's Lavana, and she's been one that's been really scared about the pandemic and not coming out of her house. Just terrified, for lack of better words. And we've been talking to her over the last several months. We thought we had her a couple months ago to come back and do takeouts and, wear the mask and not interact with the customers. And she bailed at the last second. Well, now she's come back. Last night she was back for the first time. So
takeout only a couple of days a week, but every little bit helps.
So we started reaching out to our former employees, and we've had 2 or 3 of them rejoin us, which has helped. Even if they can only do a day or two, for us, it's helped. Anything helps at this point.
And then, and so then we've leaned on our employees that we do have, and we're like, anybody, you have friends, you have relatives, anybody. And it's actually panned out the last couple of weeks.
Good.
We've had 4 new hires.
Yeah. Things are starting to feel like they're looking
up. That's why we're both here now at the same time.
That's why you agreed to this interview, because you had a second to do it, right?
Exactly.
But then there's the flip side. So then, we've been going through all this record-breaking business all summer long, and it almost is, I don't want to say I want my people to make good money, but they're making, I'm talking about my servers, they're making so much money on a daily basis that now, like for instance, Nico, he's been with us 5 or 6 years. He's one of my culinary guys, but he's a server. But he's banked so much money over the summertime that now he's decided he's going to focus on school, not his college job. We're happy for him, but he doesn't have to work anymore because he made so much over the summertime. And there you go. We take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back.
It's all relevant.
Well, we've talked before about that upward funnel that brings people up. And I heard, this sounded a little harsh to me. I heard on public radio today that one guy said there was no shutdown, that it didn't happen. No, there wasn't a shutdown. But what happened is lower level people, lower income people hand delivered food to middle level people so they could keep doing. And I thought, well, there's kind of a point, because I didn't quit working. Y'all didn't quit working. No. Walmart didn't quit working.
No,
we were all busted our hump.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. We're still doing it.
Well, welcome to small business ownership. Right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, you do what you have to do. Well, again, kudos. In fact, I was there, Jim. You were. It was your anniversary, because I was eavesdropping, and I'll tell you how I knew that. You were interviewing a young man. He appeared to have just walked in. He may have had an appointment, but a young man walked in, and you didn't do a real typical interview. You talked to him for a few minutes. You told him that you were fixing to leave and going to be gone. You gave him some material, told him to study it and look it over, and you'd get with him when you got back. But in that conversation, you divulged that it was your wedding anniversary and you were fixing to leave town. So when you came up and checked on us at the table, I said happy anniversary. But just now I pay attention because it's a professional hazard.
Yeah.
But that was one meal, guys. I mean, it was one meal that I saw the old man sit at a table by himself. It was my first visit there, which, by the way, that trip, we were there for like a week. I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many meals we ate there. Seemed like every meal that we were eating there.
Thank you.
It was a safe place. And we were being a little bit careful. We weren't, we're not overly scared or paranoid about it. But I don't know, for me as a guy that's so fanatical about customer service, one visit, and I mean, I've just told you 2 or 3 stories about that one visit. So kudos, job well done. Dennis?
If I can interject just one thing, and Randy, you touched on it. Jim and Aundrea, y'all did too. This is Mayberry.
Yeah.
This is really Mayberry.
Really
where people care about each other.
They do.
I guarantee you, when I go to Wendy's, they don't call and check and see if I'm okay if I didn't jump up the next door.
No.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
We love our guests.
We used to say we were like Cheers without the alcohol. That's before we started serving beer and wine.
Now we had a little bit.
Now it really is like that. I mean, everybody knows your name, and it's a special place.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of small business consulting, guys, and I came up with this in my late 20s. My first CEO gig, I was very blessed, fortunate. I got an opportunity. I was 25. And I had already 10 years experience in consumer electronics, which was the business at the time. And by the time I'm 27, I realized, I can pretty much distill what the business is about. We got to get new customers. We got to serve existing customers better. And we got to not go crazy in the process. Now, the third one was really tough. And in your business, I know it's super tough because the hours are grueling. But it seems to me that you've done a pretty fair job. I don't want to end without talking about the vacation rental stuff because that was pretty fascinating to me. And you've got some availabilities in some places that are pretty stinking spectacular. So tell us more.
We have one less.
We have one less. We actually sold our cabin in Tennessee. We closed last Monday. I'll just leave it at this. We would have been stupid not to sell.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
we bought back in 2014 when we filmed for the House Hunters show and everything, and the market wasn't so good, but we bought a beautiful cabin for a really good price, and now the market's just gone crazy.
Right. So we made a good decision.
It was time to get out. Yeah.
Oh, well, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, and we still have the 2 in Panama City, and then we have a beautiful cabin here in Hot Springs, and I'm gonna tell you what, it outperforms every property we have ever had.
It really does.
It really does.
And we're trying to get started on a new project downtown Hot Springs. Believe it or not, on Park Avenue. We bought a piece of property last summer, and it's just as you come into the downtown area, you can walk to downtown from this.
Yeah, it's a nice piece of property.
It's a big piece of property, and it actually is on Park Avenue and Ramble Street. It's kind of an L-shaped deal.
It's neat. It's a neat place.
It's just been a slow go, with COVID and contractors and lumber and everything else. We finally got it excavated a couple of weeks ago, and we're still trying to get.
We get started soon. But.
Okay, now and what is this going to be?
It's going to be VRBO as well. It's going to be actually a smaller one. It's going to be, I call it shabby chic. And it's going to be just for couples. There'll be a loft too in case they want to bring a couple kids, but small, shabby chic, cute as a bug on the outside and inside, and literally you can walk to downtown from it. So it's a great location.
We're pretty excited. That area is
booming.
They're now calling it Uptown.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not perfect, but there's a lot of investment going on down there. All the little motels are getting redone. There's a lot of other properties that have been purchased by investors that haven't gotten started yet.
The amphitheater just got approved. That's right down.
6,000 seat amphitheater. That's going to be where the old Majestic was.
Yeah.
That'll be a plus for Hot Springs for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Oaklawn that now has the event center kicked up and going, at least for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years ago, before COVID hit, the CEO of Priceline named Hot Springs as the fastest growing tourist city in the United States, and it only got better with COVID. So
That's true.
I know Dennis is a believer.
Yeah, testify. I was going to say, so apparently Airbnbs and VRBOs are what business people do when they're bored because we don't have anything else to do, right?
Oh Lord, like I don't have anything else to do.
No, and I drove past the cottages last night, Sunday night. Man, that's going to be nice. There's so many nice places. I mean, and people don't understand. And let's back up just a little. Prospect and Highway 5 as you're coming in. That was the only way to come into Hot Springs for forever. It was the old military road of sorts, and it was Highway 5. And Randy, as you come in that way, it was a little cottage and a little mom and pop cottage. And those places have just fallen into disrepair. And it looks like every one of them's being rebuilt.
That's right.
And there are some gorgeous Elizabethan houses back up off the side.
There sure are. Right.
Well, I'm sure y'all probably know John Cooksey. I know you know John Cooksey.
Yes.
John, he lives on Ramble and has several properties in that area too. He's doing the same thing. And it really is staged for a comeback. No question.
And look at what they did with Best Courts. What a beautiful, what a beautiful job those guys did with recreating that place.
That's a little further down, but it's still beautiful.
But still, that just shows you what can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Randy, every room has a different theme. It's like a Route 66 deal.
Mm-hmm.
One's Utah, one's whatever. It's a real cool deal.
When you come back into town, Randy?
I'm going to be there the first week in October, Lord willing.
Awesome.
We come 4 to 6 times a year. Good. And we stay a week at a time, and we are usually there the week of Thanksgiving and the week after, or the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Good.
Our anniversary is January the 2nd. We used to go, until we discovered the village, we used to go to Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Yeah.
And stay there at kind of a favorite bread. But since we discovered the village in 2018, we've been coming there instead.
Nice.
So anyway, that's the plan, hopefully.
Good.
Dennis?
Well, I was just going to come back and say the future, besides Airbnb and VRBOs, are we going to have the home plate forever? Maybe? No? Yeah? No?
Hopefully not.
You'd like to get some sleep and some relaxation.
We're tired. Yeah. So hopefully not. You got some money, Vince?
So you're saying no. I'm completely broke. If it comes to a restaurant, and Randy doesn't know this yet, or retail, not interested.
Nothing. I got it.
We'll just say this. God's been extremely good to us, and we've made some good investments, as y'all know, as we talked about. We've been there a long time. We've loved it. But by all means, if there was somebody interested that we could hand the baton off and keep everything going, I can tell you it's probably the most turnkey situation that you can imagine for a restaurant. We've got 3 kitchen managers. We've got 3 front of the house part-time managers that handle things when we're not there. And the place is always standing when we come back from a trip. So, so far, so good.
So far, it's still standing. Is my jacket showing up okay?
Okay, so Dennis had to go get the jacket on for the lightning round. Yeah, you want to stand up and twirl around.
I don't know if I can. I can. There we go.
Yeah,
I should have worn a better shirt.
I love it.
There you go. There you go.
Do not covet, Jim. Do not covet.
All right. Here's the lightning round. I don't care who goes first, but both of you need to answer. Hiking, boating, golf, or tennis?
Boating.
Oh, we're both doing it?
Yeah.
I agree. Boating.
Hamburger or taco?
Taco.
Beaches or woods?
Beaches.
Comedy or mystery?
Comedy.
Oh, mystery.
Appetizer or dessert?
Appetizer.
Okay, what's your favorite appetizer that you serve?
That we serve? Oh, the stuffed jalapenos. The bacon wrapped stuffed jalapenos.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'll be in on that. Dress or casual?
Dress.
Reading, watching, or listening?
Reading.
Stripes or plaids?
Plaids.
Yeah, plaids.
Paisley.
Yeah, I like Paisley.
Yeah. Okay, favorite movie?
Rocky.
Pretty Woman.
There you go. Favorite musician or band?
Train.
24 times. We
Number
saw him last
one.
week in Baltimore. 24 times. Number 25 is in October in Atlantic City.
Look at
Cool.
you guys. Look at you guys. I've seen them a number of times. And true story, I went to CES, Consumer Electronics Show, because I was in that business forever. And one year, Sony somebody had a private party. Train.
They are awesome.
Yep, they are. I agree. All right, thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by visiting our website, hsvinsideout.com, and tell a friend.